Hey US, how are you? Hope you people are doing well. Myself, Verma from India, and today I'm going to reacting on a video having title "The Nightcap: What Happened to Trump's Promise to Bring Prices Down." So this is the video of channel name msnbc. So do subscribe this channel and subscribe me too. Hit the bell icon. Follow me on Insta and Facebook. The links are given below in the description box. So without any delay, let's watch this video and then we'll discuss about it. So let's get started.
Let's continue our conversation with this Nightcap crew. Art, we're talking all about the real world impact, the Wall Street impact of these tariffs. Where you live in Iowa, many people would call it a news desert. It is a very, very deep, deep red state. And I want to know, how much do people understand yet? How much are they feeling yet what's happening? What do they know?
Well, they know quite a bit after today, thanks to the likes of MSNBC, CNN, and other channels exploding with information about tariffs and their potential effects. But just a week or so ago, we were talking about egg prices, not tariffs. And I think, you know, basic foodstuffs, energy costs, housing costs are paramount in people's minds, whether it's in Iowa or California. And something that people ought to really consider is food prices aren't coming down anytime soon. We import. Iowa is the #2 food producing state in the nation behind California. We import 80% of our food. So if you like guacamole, those avocados are coming from Mexico, grapes are coming from Chile, and we're getting all our potash to grow the corn we do from Canada. And where is our Republican senior senator, Chuck Grassley, on tariffs? A free trader his entire life, a farmer himself. He's on his knees begging exemptions for potash.
But just today, Howard Lutnick said, nobody get ready for exemptions. Here's what I want to know.
He got it, potash.
He got the potash
exemption.
There
was a 24-page document on exemptions released at 6 p.m. this evening.
Even though at about 8 a.m. this morning, Howard Lutnick said people shouldn't be thinking about exemptions. One person we really haven't heard from that. Well, hold on. What do we know was on this in this document?
We don't. I tried to read it. I didn't quite understand it because it's full of codes that are used to distinguish different. It was very confusing to many people. It was not substantial, apparently, in terms of the total amount of goods that were exempted.
There's also a cultural shift that somehow the administration is asking for. Because when you talk to Scott Bessent, I've seen him speak, and he has said the American dream, it's not about getting cheap goods fast. That's not the American dream, but it is the American way, right? We are a country of consumers. Our attics are filled with stuff. Our basements are filled with stuff. Our living rooms are filled with stuff. What do? We go shopping. Costco is my favorite store. And this idea...
How big of a business are storage units, which people put all their stuff in and never open them?
It's great. I'm not saying it's healthy. But I am saying this is how Americans live. We ain't Denmark. Okay, your apartment doesn't have 2 chairs and 1 pair of jeans with a little bit of pottery in it. But this idea,
now it does.
Okay, right now it does at your house. But this idea that suddenly they're saying consumerism is bad, we have to change the way we live, that's great in an academic, ideological sense. That just ain't who the American people are.
Well, I think you make maybe the most interesting point about all of this, because not only can you not get a factory up and running in 5 minutes or overnight, people can't change their habits, nor do they want to overnight. We can't ever forget on day 75 that what Donald Trump said was on day 1, he was going to bring prices down, and then almost immediately started changing his tune on that. Look, you have someone who's at a candlelight dinner tonight, a MAGA Inc. candlelight dinner
$1 million
at Mar-a-Lago.
Following a golf outing sponsored by the Saudis.
And people are doing one of two things, at least the people who...
soldier being brought back to the United States that he skipped their memorial.
Yeah, people are doing one of two things. I'll just finish it really quickly, which is either they're looking at their 401k and saying, how am I going to afford retirement? As someone said to me today, I don't know how I'm going to afford my kids' college education. Or they're burying their heads in the sand and saying, I can't bear to look.
Last point to you on this.
There's a very important story in the Washington Post this evening, on a story that I was working on but was roundly scooped by the Washington Post. You know how that feels, right?
It doesn't happen to Art.
It's a very, very important story. It's a TikTok of how they arrived at these tariffs. It needs to be read. What's interesting and what's important about it is the way it speaks to a change in psychology about business relative to the Trump administration. And it gets at a little bit what you're talking about as well, which is that the Treasury was working on a plan that was based in some fact and some information and some actual, not tradition, but sort of used ways of thinking about these things. It was ignored. All of the work that was done. So you asked about Scott Bessent earlier. Apparently he was not a player in the room when it came to deciding on the tariffs, or he just yesed the president's decision.
Well, supposedly this week he was on the Hill negotiating tax cuts, which I don't know how they're going to get Republicans to agree to tax cuts when those Republicans have to go home to screaming and yelling voters who are losing their businesses or paying up.
The important thing here is that Wall Street looked to somebody like Bessent and said, there's an adult in the room, somebody who understands these things. They looked to somebody, like Kevin Hassett from the NEC and said, there's somebody who can steer this thing from going off the cliff. Wall Street now has a very different view on whether or not guys like Bessent, guys like Hassett can keep this thing from going off the cliff. And so when you read J.P. Morgan's explanation of why they're predicting a recession, it's because of the change in sentiment towards an anti-business attitude from the administration. In other words, they don't have our backs anymore. Whether or not the American people have a similar view is more of a political question right now. But from a business standpoint, it means perhaps holding back on investment and perhaps holding back on hiring.
Okay, well then I'm going to give you an insane anecdote that speaks to the moment that we're in. So I've been talking to the White House all day because I was reporting this morning on what Scott Bessent is doing. And I told you they insisted he is fully committed, wants to be there for 4 years. He's a true conservative. He's not a moderate. He is all about reducing debt and deficit. But when somebody close to the president or close to Scott Bessent came to me midday and said, I also just wanted to tell you, someone very close to DJT reminded me, Donald Trump loves Scott Bessent.
TJD.
Who cares whether Donald Trump loves Scott Bessent? And by the way, Howard Lutnick has said it. When I saw Howard Lutnick about 6 weeks ago, he said to me, I'm Donald Trump's favorite cabinet member. We talk on the phone all the time. He loves me. Who cares? We're a country of 330 million people, many who voted for them because they felt like government wasn't working for them and they were struggling. And the response, or what I'm hearing from people in the White House, he loves me.
All you need is love.
Yeah.
Didn't we already do this adult in the room thing where we thought the adults in the room would stop him from, having a riot on January 6th. We thought the adults in the room would stop him from doing this or that thing. It's like, there's no stopping him. This is something he's been obsessed with doing since the 80s. It's like a deep-seated
thing. Best you can do is get a potash exemption.
There you go.
Maybe.
Your reporting is that Bessent was not central to the decision-making on the tariff. Is that what you're saying?
My reporting is that he was not central to this. And in my reporting, I had heard from people in the realm who said he might be looking to leave. He might be looking to go to the Fed. Now, I was told from people close to him today said that's absolutely not the case. He's committed to being there. He wants to be there today, tomorrow,
was he was he in the room when it happened, so to speak? And in that regard, what we're talking about is the possibility that the biggest change to U.S. economic policy in 100 years was perhaps done without the Treasury Secretary?
I don't know that.
I don't know that.
I don't know that. I know
it's an implication.
I don't know that. I know he has spoken to the president all week long. I don't know where
they
physically were. I know he was speaking to the president all week long, but he did spend a lot of time on the Hill this week trying to negotiate to get tax cuts. But my question is, what Republicans are sitting there saying, let me focus on tax cuts when the likes of Rand Paul are saying, we're going to lose economically and politically because they know the impact of this.
I can tell you this, talking to people on the Hill, that they get generally, it varies from place to place, 50 to 100 calls a day, maybe, from their constituents. And usually it's about, I need something for my farm. They're getting 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 calls. Here's my question. If that's happening now on the possibility of or anticipation of the bad things that are going to happen, what happens when the bad things happen? What are people going to say and do? All these folks, we had reporters out today talking to people, and maybe 1 out of a dozen said, let's wait. And even the people who said, let's wait and see what happens, frankly, I'm not an expert on this, looked uncomfortable at this point in even saying that.
So guys, here's the end of this video. Please tell me your perception on this video. So this is just a big breaking on tariff rates applied by Trump on the various countries. I think it is 10%, but it's okay with my opinion. It's there is nothing nothing wrong with it. He can do what he wants for his country, and he is a countryman. He's a global leader. He's a global figure, and any nationalist leader take actions, whatever was better for his country. So I think this is a great move, and yeah, debate is always there, and it's a nice debate. And what is your take, and from which country people are watching me? Please tell me in the comment section. Are you guys from US or UK? So please tell me. And what is the impact of this bold decision of Donald Trump on the locals? So please tell me below, and we'll meet you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye. It's me, the Mandarma from India, signing off.